Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the Tasso F12M-02 from Steelwell. Otherwise, more commonly, it's going to be known as the Mini Tasso. I really like the original Tasso. It has that new ant lock. It just came out a little while ago, if I understand correctly, and I may be wrong here, but from talking to people at Steelwell, I think they were both supposed to come out at the same time. These were a bit delayed. So this is a 3-inch blade version of the Tasso instead of the 3.5 like the original one was. And I will do a little comparison between the two at the end. It's also going to serve as kind of an update to the F12, the original Tasso, because I reviewed that. It was a quick kind of first impressions review, and so is this. I've only had this for a day, so this isn't a full definitive thing, but and I'm going to do a lot of size comparisons stuff and talk a lot between the large one and the smaller one. Very excited they came out with one this fast, because a lot of these knives we do always kind of wish for a mini. I know, yeah, we're looking at you, Benchmade. Where's our mini Super Freak? We want a mini Super Freak. We all really do. But it's nice when companies just come out with a smaller version of the same knife. You know, you have the mini Griptilian, you have the Spyderco PM2 and Para 3 pairing. You know, it's nice when they do that, and it's really cool that Steelwell did that so quickly. Very, very, very happy with that. Now, as far as general kind of stats and design of this knife, again, same as the bigger one. You got M390 steel, G10 handles, the new ant lock system, which it does look like an axis-y sort of lock, but it isn't at all. It's really more of a back lock with kind of a thumb actuator, like a split back lock, I guess is how I would describe it. As you can see, triangle here a little bit, but that just kind of splits and moves and releases the blade. It's a pretty secure lock. There are no liners, but it doesn't really need them. You do have a metal spine going most of the way down the knife, so that's fine. And you do have a very good, thick, sturdy, full G10 backspacer. In this case, blue instead of the orange of the larger one. Now, I like the blue a whole lot better. Some people do like orange, but orange, I do believe, is a more polarizing color than blue. I think a lot of people like blue. And some people really loathe orange, so yeah, I applaud the choice of blue for this. It looks really nice. It's not a super bright, crazy blue either. It's just kind of a normal Crayola crayon color blue. If you bought a crayon from Crayola with this color on it, it wouldn't say like azure blue. It would just say blue. That's how it is. I do apologize if there are fans running in the background, but it is 96 degrees outside. My studio / office is in the attic, and every moment that I have my door closed and I'm away from the AC brings me another minute closer to death. So I don't want it to be too hot in here. Passing out on a video that'd be sad. But let's do some specs and size comparisons before we get too much farther. You have an blade length, as I said, of 3 inches, overall length of 7¼ inches. Blade stock, same as the larger one, 0.14 inches. Handle thickness of 0.57 inches, fairly thick handle, and a weight of 3.2 ounces, which does make it a full ounce lighter than the larger version. Now, some size comparisons. We will start out with our standards here. You have your Spyderco PM2, and then we will also put the Para 3, which is probably a slightly better size comparison. This is a knife that especially, this is the lightweight version, but especially in some of the higher end, you know, G10 PM2 or Para 3s, this knife is going to compare to a whole lot. Also, the mini Griptilian, I don't have one here right now to compare it to. I'm sorry about that, but yeah, that's another knife that people are going to be considering. Like the 20 CV Benchmade Griptilian is about in the same price range as this, which, by the way, that price range is $160. Not bad at all for M390 and G10. Can't complain about that. They are available on the Steelwell website right now. They're not available anywhere else. But if it goes by the same mode as the original Tasso did, when they do become available on websites, they're the same price. So if you want to go get one now from Steelwell, go ahead and do it. Don't think that it's going to be cheaper if you wait a while and it comes out. A lot of times, you know, you buy a knife from the website, they're charging MSRP. And it's less expensive once it actually shows up on proper websites. Steelwell does not seem to be doing that, at least not with the Tasso. It was the same price on Blade HQ when it came out as it was on their site. So that's pretty cool. Now, let's talk about this knife specifically, and then we'll bring out the larger one, and we'll do kind of a little comparison thing here. But blade stock, as I said, the same 0.14 inches. Not a thin, slicey thing by any means, but not bad at all. It is thinner behind the edge than the larger one, though. I measured this one at about 19 thousandths. I measured the larger one at 2324. So I found just, doing quick little, non-scientific cardboard tests, just slashing through a few things. They kind of come close to feeling about the same, even though the other one has a much longer blade, obviously. This is just a little thinner behind the edge, and it kind of evens out a little bit. So the grind isn't as high, but it's thinner behind the edge, so it sort of evens out. I really couldn't tell much of a difference. Still has that same awesome Bowie blade shape that I really like, and I know from your comments and stuff, that's the thing people like the most about the Tasso. I do like this clip point Bowie-ish sort of blade shape. It just looks cool, and it works really well. And again, the tip, not bad. It's not a spindly little thing at all. It's definitely capable of some normal work. And steel seems okay. I don't know if anybody's put them through tests or anything yet, but it seems to be all right. Quite happy with the blade on this, just as I was on the original Tasso. Now, as far as ergonomics go, pretty good. The larger Tasso is ergonomically outstanding. This is really close to outstanding. I can get all 4 fingers. It is a mini, and on the mini Griptilian, I cannot do this. That's one thing I've never really liked about the mini Griptilian. I can get all 4 fingers on the handle still, no problem at all. You can choke up on it. If you have really fat fingers, you have to be a bit more careful, but for my fingers, you can choke up on it. And the handle shape and everything is still extremely comfortable. The only problem I have is the pocket clip is basically, I said it wasn't bringing this out till later, but is the same. And because of that, there is a little bit of a hot spot here. It's not horrid, but it's not great, especially if you're not choked up. I can really feel that pocket clip. It's not like, I don't think it's gonna give me blisters or anything, but I can definitely feel, especially this ramp. It's got a pretty high ramp on it. I think maybe they could have dialed that down a little bit or made this clip shorter, because as you can see where it lands, it's pushing right against, the joint of my index finger. So I can feel choked up. It's perfectly fine. And that's honestly how I would use this knife most of the time. So I'm not gonna give it a hard time, because when I'm choked up, I don't feel the pocket clip much at all. I still know it's there, but it's not a thing. But if you are going to use it in a standard grip, yeah, you're going to get a hot spot from that clip. But other than that, ergonomically, it's still really good. I still prefer it to a mini grip, because I said the mini grip just never fit my hands right. Do I prefer it to a pair of 3? No, probably not. I think the pair of 3 is probably a little bit better, because I don't get a hot spot from the clip or anything. So, especially this lightweight version. I think the lightweight's a bit better ergonomically than the standard one. But yeah, ergonomically, it's pretty good. It's not as outstanding as its big brother is, but it's pretty good. Now, as far as the carry goes, again, same things I said. You can kind of cut and paste, about the larger one. It is a bit slimmer in the pocket. Other than that, yeah, not particularly deep carry clip. But it's fine. That doesn't really bother me. It is easier to get your hand by than the larger one, obviously, because it's smaller, and there's no flipper tab sticking out. It's a pretty easy knife to carry. But again, they did the same thing. This is a very ambidextrous lock, and there's no left hand drilling for the pocket clip. I just don't understand that. This is a great knife, and I think it'll be a great knife for lefties, and they just didn't do that. Obviously, they'd have to provide a second clip, but, Cold Steel does that. I just don't know why. Or change the drilling so it's a more flippable clip. I just don't know why there's no left hand. The only reason to do that is for aesthetics, and this is such a good knife. I really wish they'd make it ambi. I don't understand that. Definitely ambi for use, not ambi for carry. Now, as far as the deployment goes, again, pretty much the same as the larger one. The antlock is very smooth. I would say almost on this one. I don't know if it's a later production. It may even be smoother than my larger one is. It is total drop shut. Very fun and fidgety. You can open it multiple ways. Spidey flick it, all those things. And I do really like the antlock. It's really growing on me. But the only thing I hate about it, and again, this is the same thing I complained about in the original, it's still in this one. It rattles. These little thumb studs just aren't tight. And that's just, apparently that's just the way ant locks are. It's definitely not a production failure, because I've seen multiple reviewers mention it on the original and on this one and on the Mini. I've had two now. Both of mine do it. It's an annoyance. It's not a deal breaker, but it is definitely an annoyance. I thought on the larger one, maybe some pocket lint would get in there and it would stop making that noise, but that never happened. And I have carried it a fair bit, so I think that's just the way they're going to be. So you have to take that or leave it as you will. So my real conclusion on this knife is it's great. I do really like it in the smaller size. Do I like it better than the larger one? Man, I'm not sure. Again, I've only had a day to play with them. And I probably won't keep them both, so I'm trying to decide myself, and I'm not sure. There is the hot spot from that clip. That's annoying. But a 3-inch knife, an M390, I don't have a lot of those. I've got a lot of not 3.5-inch knives and really nice steels. So, man, I'm not sure. It's gonna be a tough decision, and I think it would be a tough decision for anybody going to buy them. It may just even come down to something silly like, which color do you like better? Do you want orange or do you want blue? Yeah, it's going to be a tough choice, but it is a great little knife. I think it's a very worthy competitor to, like I said, the likes of the Para 3, the 20 CV Griptilians. I think it's a very worthy competitor to those. Pretty lightweight, 3.2 ounces, carries well. Again, I have the only complaints I have of this are mostly the same complaints I have about the bigger one. The rattle, no left hand, even though I'm not left-handed, and the little hot spot from the clip. In one hand position that I'm never going to use. Not never, but not often going to use. So, all right, there we go. It's a really great offering steel, and again, I applaud them for making a Mini immediately. They usually do that. I know when the cut jacks came out, they came out in both sizes at pretty much the same time. And I really like that they do that, because, you know, there's legalities. You may live in a place where a 3-inch limit is a thing. In my city, technically it is. In some areas of the city, you can only carry a 3-inch. In the actual downtown, only 3-inch. So I will probably carry this more. So it's just a thing to think about. It's just something I wanted to applaud them for coming out with it so very, very quickly. And reminding other companies to get off their butts and make minis of some of the knives that we love. Because guys who can only carry 3 inches want to handle them too. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.